Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. So now guys, this is one for the Igbos, but please guys, don't come after me. I am merely the messenger. These are the words of a psychology professor, a lecturer from University of Ife, Obafemi Awolowo University now. So guys, I bring you this. Nnamdi Kanu needs psychiatric examination showing signs of insanity, a comment attributed to a psychologist. So that's the headline. Nnamdi Kanu needs psychiatric examination showing signs of insanity. So now let's now find out what the psychologist has to say. Dr. S. Peters, a behavioral psychologist at the Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, has berated Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, over his recent comments against President Buhari, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, and Nigeria in general. Peters said Kanu requires urgent medical and mental assistance. Addressing reporters on Saturday, the psychologist insisted that remarks of the IPOB leader over time clearly show signs of mental disorder and severe illness. So now let me just pause there for a moment. So this guy is saying Nnamdi Kanu is showing signs of severe illness and mental disorder, but then of course you have to put that against the background of a lot of trauma that this guy has gone through in the last few years. You remember, of course, Operation Python Dance that went to his very home, the very heart of his home, which is his village home, and they just savaged the whole house, just sprayed it with all these with soldiers, as Nnamdi Kanu would describe them. And then of course he lost his parents, then both of them in quick succession after that. So of course you can only imagine the psychological impact that would have on him. So accusing him of mental disorder is not taking into cognizance the sort of traumatic experiences that he has gone through in very quick succession, which would impact on anyone. That is not to say I agree or disagree that Nnamdi Kanu has a psychological or mental disorder, as this guy has put it. I am not an expert, and I don't know Nnamdi Kanu personally, so I cannot comment on that. But I am saying that all the traumatic experiences that happened in very quick succession would have impacted on him, because he's only a human being. He's not superhuman, he is human, so these things would have impacted him. So let's carry on. When he says things like the VP, so that's Vice President, when he says things like the VP was forcefully injected C19, so I wasn't even aware that Nnamdi Kanu is now saying that Yemi Osinbajo was forcefully injected C19. So a lot of these things, you know, that Nnamdi Kanu says, it doesn't really help his cause, and it doesn't really rally people to his cause, especially. So when you are going around saying that Buhari is Jubril from Sudan, and then you are saying the vice president was forcefully injected C19 and all this kind of stuff, then a lot of people who may have sympathy with your cause, and a lot of people do, but they switch off mentally when you start to say things like this. Of course, I mean, because people then say that this guy is now going into territories that are a bit like deep waters and dubious, you know, saying things like Buhari is Jubril from Sudan, the vice president is injected, you need Abakari's thumbprint to access the Aso Rock Villa, all these kind of things that he says, you know, a lot of these things, they don't help rally people to his cause, and a lot of people, even non-Igbo people, have sympathy with a lot of the things that Nnamdi Kanu is agitating for. A decent deal for the Igbo people, even secession if that is what the Igbo people want, because you cannot hold a people against their will. If the Igbo people want to go off and form their own country, and there's sufficient enough of them of that will, then you have to let them do that. So you cannot hold them against their will. But if you are agitating for that, and a lot of people have a lot of sympathy with that sort of want, that sort of thing that you're agitating for, that thing you want, if a lot of people have sympathy for that, and then in the course of that agitation, you're coming up with this rather shaky comments, Jubril at Sudan, the vice president is ejected, you need that Bakari thumbprint to access Aso Rock, this, that, and the other, because there's no time really that I go through Nnamdi Kanu speech or public utterance. There's not one thing or the other that will make me raise my eyebrow and say, well, this guy is now, I don't know, maybe it's been smoking that thing again, or he makes this comment that just make people want to withdraw from him. So yes, they are saying that the VP was injected forcefully with C19. I mean, yeah, that's just ludicrous, really. I mean, I don't think the most anti-Buhari, Oshibanjo person of any real level mind would be off. That is just too fanciful and too fanciful and too away with the fairies, these sort of things that he says. But let's carry on. Let's pick it from that paragraph again. Actually, he said, when he says things like the vice president was forcefully injected with C19 and that the vice president and Femi Adesina were kidnapped, so that's another one. So I mean, these are the things that people are saying about Nnamdi Kanu anyway, that the vice president and Femi Adesina were kidnapped and under house arrest, and that Aso Rock is empty. These are signs of insanity because they are a fabrication of his imagination. So a fabrication of his imagination, of course, is how a lot of people see a lot of the things that Nnamdi Kanu says. You have to believe that. I know I have a lot of Igbo people on my channel, and I know I have a lot of Biafra fanatics, a lot of Biafra fans, a lot of Biafrans who believe in Biafra. I have a lot of them on my channel, and I too, in some ways, I am a Biafran, I'm a Yoruba man, but I ally myself to the Biafran cause because I too feel that the Igbos are being badly treated. They have been badly treated all the way through since very much the 60s. So if they have to go, then they should be let go. So I have a lot of sympathy for that. But then when you go through the list that Oshibanjo was forcefully injected with C19, that Oshibanjo and Adesina are kidnapped under house arrest, Aso Rock is empty, this kind of things, then that makes you just, you just do a mental rolling of the eyes and you just walk away really and say there's nothing going on there. So the behavioral thing is one thing, and Nnamdi Kanu is another entity entirely, because Nnamdi Kanu, you have to understand, is not Biafra. Biafra was already going even before Nnamdi Kanu was born. Biafra is not even Ojuku. Biafra is an idea for the Igbo people to form their own nation because they do not believe that they fit in, or they want to fit in even, or they have anything that allies themselves with the rest of the people who call themselves Nigerians. They feel that they are a unique set of people with unique and peculiar ways that are peculiar to them. They have ways that are peculiar to them, so they feel that they are these people that need to go their own way because their own way is particular to them. So you have that, and that predates Nnamdi Kanu. So Nnamdi Kanu is not Biafra, and Biafra is not Nnamdi Kanu. So you can have a lot of sympathy and empathy and ally yourself with the Biafra cause and still turn your nose up a little bit at Nnamdi Kanu, especially off the back of some of these rather unguarded remarks that he routinely makes. Really, I won't say he makes occasionally. He makes all these unguarded comments routinely, which just makes people just flick their hand and say that one safe. It's fast turning into one of those people that people would say that guy safe is not turning into that guy safe now. The Nnamdi Kanu whole campaign structure. But let's carry on. Let's see what else this professor has to say. So where am I picking it? Let me pick it up from here. Okay, so I'm actually going to pick it up from that paragraph again because it needs to run through. So he said, when he says things like the vice president was forcefully injected with C19 or that the vice president and Femi Adesina were kidnapped and under house arrest, or that Aso Rock is empty, these are signs of insanity because they are a fabrication of his imagination. Kanu is confused in his perception and thinking. For example, he has raised this view about the president of Nigeria, Jubril of Sudan. Buhari is a clone. Buhari is using silicone mask, or that Buhari is a doppelganger. This is demonstrated as he is always expressing extreme anger, like talking about burning Nigeria, killing Nigerians, destroying Nigeria, and even leaders of the Southeast and the South in general. If Kanu submits himself for further examination, it is possible that we will find more traits of insanity in him. For the above, I have been able to establish that he has delusions, hallucinations, strong feelings of anger, denial of obvious issues, and confused thinking, but there could be more. So there could be more is how the professor rounds it off, and hopefully there isn't more, because this list already is worrying. Delusions, hallucinations, strong feelings of anger, denial of obvious issues, and confused thinking. So that is now the verdict from the professor, the diagnosis from the psychologist from the University of Ife, to sum it up then, for him to conclude then that Nnamdi Kanu is showing signs of insanity. So this is what the lecturer said, the professor. I'm not sure if he's a professor, but he's certainly a doctor, because that is the title that it starts off with. So now this is what this guy is saying, and I am not really taking a position because, of course, as I said, I don't have the expertise in psychology, and I have not met Nnamdi Kanu personally. So I wouldn't really be able to predict his state of mind. Even if I met him, I couldn't carry out the diagnosis because I don't have the training. But this is the position. What is your position? The psychologist is saying Nnamdi Kanu is more suited to Aro mental than Aso Rock. What says you? Come share thoughts. But before you do that, click on the red subscribe button so it turns gray. Bell button notifies you every time I drop a new video. Then, without the unzobo chanting in the comment section, come share ideas on what you're making of what this psychologist has said of the Igbo Alpha 1 citizen, their first son, Nnamdi Kanu, in the comment section. So I'll leave you here. Carry this conversation on with you in the comment section. But here, I say, peace.